what I wanted to do is get together some professional women that I know and love and respect, and have them talk a little bit about some of their struggles with finding balance as they build their careers and their businesses, and what support systems they put in place to help them find this balance, and how they still find time to connect with family, friends, and loved ones, and find that balance, and also make sure that their spaces are creative spaces so that they feel good and comfortable, and whether that's in the office or at home or around the dinner table. Kicking it right off is Annette Saldana, and I have known Annette for a couple years now, and she recently made a move, so I had to get her here on the chat to be able to see her beautiful face. Annette's business is the art and science of irresistible requests. She provides one-on-one coaching as well as workshops, masterminds, and speaking engagements to professionals about how to make that irresistible request. So I wanted to read a couple of your client reviews that I saw on there, so people can get a little bit of a feeling of what you do.
Okay.
One that I loved that I wrote down was from a client. The thing that stuck with me was most acknowledging the fact that we as women make up stories in our own heads and actually act upon them as if they are real. I am guilty of doing this, but after applying your technique to both my professional and personal life, the outcome is astonishing. I no longer listen to the voice in my head that answers my questions long before I ask them. I am able to respectfully make a request for what I want and be prepared for an answer, whether negative or positive. And I thought that was a really great way to kind of to start it off, and I wanted to hear a little bit about how you got where you are today, and what kind of turning points created this life that you're living right now.
Sure. It's so funny that you picked that testimonial, because I had been in business for probably about 6 years, and I was doing a talk for the Women's Business Development Center, and it had to do with communication. That was the topic. So I picked how to ask for what you want, knowing that asking for what you want is the most pivotal communication act that there is. And I delivered this talk. It was a 1-hour talk, and that testimonial is what led me to change the whole course of my career. That and a trip to Africa, by the way. But Anne-Marie was so generous, and I saw what a difference it made. She went back into work, and her boss was like, I don't know what happened to you, but this is who I want to see more of every day.
Right.
And I thought, wow, that was just like a 1-hour talk that I threw together. This is really important, and it's something that I've struggled with, believe it or not, because my program really deals a lot with people valuing themselves. And what I have found, I work a lot with creatives and really talented people who are superb at their craft, but when it comes to pricing themselves or selling their services, it's really difficult. So I was always great at promoting other people. I was amazing at promoting my husband's music career. If I believed in something, it was super easy to promote it and ask for the world. I mean, if my kids needed something, I'd ask anybody. But when it came to asking for something that I thought was of benefit to me, it was challenging, to say the least. And the day I gave that talk, and hence went to Africa and did a little soul searching, I decided to make a bold move in my career and no longer, not that I wouldn't work with a corporation, but to really design a program where I had the creativity, I had the authority, where I could set my own hours. I was before I did this program, when I was running my business, I was working literally 70 to 80 hours a week. I was on the road traveling every week.
Wow.
In big corporations. So while I was an entrepreneur, I still felt like an employee.
Right,
Like
right.
I didn't have a voice. So the pivot points when I first started my business 8 years ago was when my husband at the time, he's now my husband and good friend, but he said, you know, our marriage is ending. I want a divorce. And I was like, holy Moses, I've been, you know, taking care of kids, and what am I going to do? And I started my business, and I had a background in training and development, so I did a lot of work with corporations. So that was the first turning point, was I got to take care of myself, and I've got to provide for myself.
Right.
So I'm going to start a business. Then the second turning point was after doing that for 6 years and being on the road and literally sitting on an airplane willing the door on the exit aisle would open, so, and just like imagining how great it would feel to just float through the sky, just be done with it all. I was like, oh my God, that's not
that's not where we want you to be.
No. There's something wrong with this picture. So those were the two turning points, and then I went to Africa, and I saw how happy the people were in Africa, and I had always pitied Africa. I had raised money for Africa since I was 18 years old.
Wow.
And I left with
And this was your first trip there?
It was my first trip there, maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 or 4. I can't remember time anymore, but they had nothing, but they had everything.
Right.
They had presence, they had family, they had joy. And I really had to question the way I was working. And that's when I decided to change my business and start working with entrepreneurs.
Right. Wow. And so what is your average day like, Annette? And I'm sure it varies drastically.
It really does vary.
But
one of the things that I hated was working on Mondays. I hated that Sunday dread. I think it was from all that traveling. By the time 4 o'clock rolled around on Sunday, I was like, oh, I got to get on a plane tomorrow. So one of the first decisions I made was that Monday was an admin day. It was just like a day to create, to get caught up. And that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I've actually started that recently, because I felt the same way. You know, you have this weekend which goes in about a second. It's all of a sudden it's Monday or Sunday night, and that same, you know, that back to school feeling that Sunday night. So I've recently started that too, where I don't book appointments on Mondays, and I make it just my my focus day. I get my list created for the week, and just kind of get myself settled in the office, and I find it's a very productive day, and it to your point, causes less stress on that Sunday night, and I'm able actually to enjoy my my downtime, because usually I end up doing some work on Saturday. So Sunday I try to really have that real downtime. So that's interesting that you said that. So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I still remember the moment I was like, well, why aren't you booking calls on Monday? You don't have to.
Right.
You know? So Tuesday I reserve to do marketing calls and marketing work. Wednesday and Thursdays are booked with clients, and then Friday also booked with clients until about noon.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I'm speaking or something, by Friday 3 o'clock I'm done.
Yeah.
What
do you consider your office? I know a lot of people like
We're in my office.
That's what I was wondering that.
Yeah, this is it.
Good. All right.
So
And I know you recently moved
I should
also.
have cleaned it.
Well, that's all right. We can only see
Yep.
about
I
a
don't think you could, but see,
6 by
that's my
6.
little desk.
Very nice.
Yep. And
Good.
I've got a couch in my office now, and it's great.
So is it a dedicated office space for you?
It is.
Good, good. And if
Yeah.
you have you found that that's important for you?
I'll tell you, the most important thing was the door.
Really?
Because I don't know if you'd ever been to my house in Tampa, but
I
I
was
had the
not, yeah.
bungalow, and I had a sunroom that was a dedicated office, but it had no door. I love the fact that I can lock my door.
I'll even lock it, not just that you can close it.
Right. So,
So
yeah.
then that kind of brings me into like a little bit next question. So since you are at home and your office is home, what do you find is the biggest struggle to find that balance between your work life and your personal life since you're so interconnected?
The biggest struggle in, repeat it again? The biggest
The
struggle
biggest
in what?
struggle in trying to find that balance between home life and work life. Because you work at home, how do you separate the two? Or how do you find that works the best for you to separate the two?
I don't know.
No
The
separation?
title of your interview, I did laugh about this when I saw it earlier, was Finding Your Balance. I don't really believe in balance. I'm so fully engaged in whatever it is that I'm doing when I'm doing it.
Uh-huh.
For example, you asked what a typical day is like. So yesterday was my admin day, but then my virtual assistant texted me at 10 o'clock at night, and then I got on a roll and I worked until 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So the joy of that was I got up, and I know we're going to talk about the support structures that we have.
Go into that. So what do you have in place? There's support systems.
Well, now, as of yesterday, I have someone living here, and I have to tell you, it was really amazing to wake up and have somebody help me get the boys ready for school, and to do it in a way that was meaningful.
Right.
Because I have done that. I've always done that. But a lot of times we go to the coffee shop and grab a bagel, and that's nice because there's like a little community here. But it was really nice to make them hot chocolate and pancakes, and like on a Tuesday morning,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I could only do that because of the support that I got.
Nice.
I'm a firm believer in hiring support. Always. I've had support since the boys were born. I think people assume it's a lot more expensive than it has to be. But for me as a mom, I want my time with my boys to be spent enjoying them, like a hangout, like we're having here,
Right.
talking about our day. And when I don't have support, because there have been occasions where it hasn't worked out, like last week. So I had one
you
day,
mentioned you had someone leave, so there was a transition in your
was asked to
life.
leave.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's probably a little bit better. You were planning it at least, right?
No, I wasn't planning it, but I just one of the key components in my program is, because it's so hard for women to ask for what they want, and studies have been shown, I'm not making that up. I mean, Carnegie Mellon University's done a huge amount of research on it. And so I look at, what am I tolerating? And one of my ongoing practices is to look at, where am I compromising and what am I putting up with? What am I tolerating? And how can I raise the bar? So I'm always engaged in that question. And with the support that I had, I'd already had 3 conversations to try to get the performance and the standards that I wanted, and it just wasn't turning
Wasn't
out.
there.
So
Yeah. So.
I kind of leaped before I looked, which, you know,
Yeah.
is a habit of mine, and luckily it turned out. And I find that it usually does.
Yeah. Do you
And
have any other schedulers or any other people or tools that help you maintain a little bit of a balance
oh
between
yeah,
your life?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have a support person in New York, and he handles the mailings. I don't even know what it's called, like that. We just switched to Entreport. We were on MailChimp, and we're now using Entreport because I think it's going to give us a lot better pulse of uh, what our clients want, what our people need, and also to give them a more personalized experience.
Right, right.
So then I have another VA who handles like the website, and she's in Florida. And we use Asana as a tracking tool to all communicate.
Okay. Yeah.
With my kids, we're all on Google Calendar, and we
Nice.
share our calendars.
Good.
Yep. And then the other support that I had to get for them this year is I had to hire somebody to drive them
Yeah.
everywhere
Yeah.
because they're in so many activities. Now that they're older, it is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's you carting them around all the time, which takes away from every part of your life. So that's that's
Yeah,
that's a wise investment, I think, for many
yeah.
reasons. And
So
then, as you said, when they're home or when they're with you, it's not time just in the car. It's time where you're actually connecting.
and that is the most important thing to me. I mean, I
Yeah.
adore my boys, like any mom,
Right.
adores
Yeah.
her kids. And um, sometimes, like I said, I I think we try to do it all on our own, and we don't realize the compromise that that has on our relationships, on our happiness, on the joy that we get to share with the people in our lives. So, and even if you're not hiring someone, you can. I was just talking to a neighbor at the soccer game. She's like, well, why don't you get a mom? She shares with
Right.
another mother,
Yeah.
and
Shares the carpooling.
she shares the carpooling. She does the homework with the kids 3 days a week, and the other mother does it 2 days a week, so they give each other time. And again, none of that happens without asking and
Right.
making requests.
You're right. You're right. And it's something that, to your point, that a lot of moms probably wouldn't necessarily think is available, or they think they're asking too much of if they have to ask friends or neighbors, or even to looking to an outside source to find that. I bet
Yeah.
most people wouldn't even think to look for that. So that's a good point. So then you find that balance with your kids and your home family unit. And I know, again, you made a move, and I think in some of our conversations, it led me to believe that you were making really a lifestyle choice to be with some people that you cared about and move back to Atlanta.
Yep.
So, and those are big, I think, decisions. So have you found what's the difference in connecting with the people where you are now, and how has that kind of impacted your, I guess, overall emotional feeling?
Well, the first week we moved here was very emotional because I used to live in Atlanta for 20 something years. And coming back home, I didn't realize how much I'd missed it. So
Yeah.
when somebody died, a friend's mother passed away, and we were going to the funeral. And literally, we had been here 2 days, and my brother came and picked me up, and we had the boys in the car, and I just started to cry, and the boys were fighting in the back, and I said, "You don't appreciate it now," but they're like, "What? Why are you crying, Mom?"
Yeah.
You know. But it had been so long since I just rode in the car with my brother. Yes, I see
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
every holiday we get together. We're very close, but to have that shared life experience of just doing something as mundane as riding in a car to go do something is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Um,
see you out and about all the time with your on Instagram and everything. So it looks like you're enjoying yourself.
Atlanta is amazing. It's grown a lot. There's a lot of entrepreneurs here. There's a lot of creative energy here. I live in a neighborhood where we all have front porches, and because the weather's so great here, I think we I work outside a lot of days, and I'll talk to my neighbors, and uh, there's a lot of biking
Yeah.
involved, lots of parks. It's cool.
Yeah. Do you find so okay, so moving into, I just want to touch on before we have to wrap it up. So how do you find your entertaining has changed? And I mean that more in sense of really
Yeah.
connecting and not necessarily, setting a table or something, but connecting with those people in your lives.
Um, how do I find it's changed?
I think similar, like you said, maybe just riding in the car and it, doesn't.
Well, no, I like to entertain a lot.
Yeah.
I do, and I finally feel like my dining room table is getting put to good use. So we have dinners. My husband's an amazing chef, so we have like a table we had imported from India. It seats 15 people.
Wow.
So we have a lot of dinner parties,
So
and
are you hosting Thanksgiving then?
I I haven't thought that far yet, but I would like to. I would very much like to.
Yeah.
And uh, we've had some unexpected social occasions, like where because Bai's a musician, and we've been at a show, and then it turns out that the whole band comes over to the house, and we're cooking it in the middle of the night.
Right.
So
Nice.
it's a great living spot. So connecting uh, for the holidays is my favorite.
Yeah. 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 So but you have to put that invitation out. People make plans for Thanksgiving, and that you better put that out there.
I
You have to
know.
make that request.
Well, we have long-standing traditions. So for Christmas, because we're Cuban, our big night is Noche Buena, and there's been about the same 25 people coming every year, and that will be at my dad's house, and we all spend the night there.
Very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
and we
And when
do
is
roast.
that?
Huh?
When is that? What's the date?
The 24th.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
Christmas Eve.
All right.
That's when our throwdown is,
Okay.
and it's roast pork and black beans and
Nice. So
lots
I
of
think I've been
champagne.
to one. And do you do the whole pig?
No,
No,
I
no.
have. As a child, I remember my dad doing that,
Yeah, but
and all
not.
the grown-ups playing dominoes. But being around people and gathering is is I think part of my culture. It's how we grew up, and I can just as easily set a table with China. I haven't really done that in a long time, but I can just as easily set a table with real silverware and cloth napkins, which we use a lot for the environment mostly.
Right.
Um, or I can have a ton of people over and order pizza, and it's paper plates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not so worried about the environment there, am I? But for me, it's
I'd rather have you use paper than the styrofoam. So at least you
yes,
got the paper there.
yeah. It's for me, the intent is the most important thing of whoever's
Mm,
hosting.
yes.
If whoever's hosting is comfortable with whatever it is, and I tell people when they come, listen, I'm not going to be working the bar. You go in the kitchen, get whatever you want. I have a lot of visitors coming into town, and I'm not
Yeah.
the cook.
Right.
It's
I
not the
usually
person.
I'll tell people I'll get them their first drink, and then after that they're on their own. Or and setting up a buffet so that they can help themselves, like you said, takes the stress off of you. And they really do. Guests feed off of the energy of the host. So I really
Yeah.
love what you said.
I mean, you go to a party and the host is worried about their furniture or everything being right, and you go to a party where the host doesn't care and all they want is to enjoy the people who are there.
Right. Yep.
Everything could be the exact same, and the feeling in the party is going to be completely different.
Yes. I 100% agree. 120.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about any upcoming projects that you're excited about.
Yeah. I'm getting ready to launch the Art and Science of Irresistible Request again.
Very cool. And what's the
Totally
launch date
excited
of
about
that?
that. Yeah, and it's been amazing. They're very small, and I like it that way. I'm keeping it to about 20 people per round, and the community's building. So now I've just completed my second one,
Good.
and
And where can people find you?
they can find me at www.irresistiblerequest.com,
All right.
and
Good.
that's request plural. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll make sure that I put all the information to contact you
Sure.
in the show notes so that they
Yeah.
can also get
And
that.
I
And
would
when is the
especially
launch
invite
date?
people to sign up for. I have 5 scripts that are completely free. The Expedition. It's a training with a workbook that gives you 5 scripts where you can immediately ask for what you want.
Awesome. And they can get that on your website?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. All right. Last question. All right.
Okay.
How do you want the world to be different because you lived in it?
I want humanity to be self-expressed and free. That's
Very
it.
nice.
Free. Free.
Well, thank you very much, Annette. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And I hope everybody heads over there and gets their 5 scripts so that they can start making those irresistible requests and really making those advances in their life and career that just take sometimes just that one question, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for doing this, Krayl. It's great to see you, and I love what you're doing. I'm watching your videos, and I think that you are creating more connection
well,
in
thank
the
you
world. I think
thank you.